it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in this episode of World of Tanks. We are going to talk about today capping. Specifically, why your capping does not work. There are two ways to win this game. The number one is to delete all of the enemy hit points and tanks off the map before time runs out. That works in every mode. The second way is to cap, which can be different depending on whether it's an encounter mode, standard, or assault. That's a fact. Those are the two ways to win. The question then is, which one's the better, the higher percentage way to do it? Well, taking out everyone is the higher percentage way because it just works. It's over. Attempting to cap, while once you finish the cap, does work to win. The question is not that. The question is, have you set the conditions to cap? And most of the time, on most cap attempts that I see, they have not been set, or they do it wrong. They do it wrong. So there's two pieces to that. The first one is to set the conditions, and what that means is there's nobody who can reset you, or you have it set up such that they're going to have a difficult time or won't be able to reset you. You've taken enough of their hit points and guns off of the map that they either can't get to you or they can't stop you from capping. The more guns and enemy tanks that are back still on the board, the less chance you have of doing that. So what I see a lot out of people is attempting to cap, they attempt to caps when the conditions are not set. That's the big deal right there, guys. So for you new players, and there's a lot of you out there and returning players who are looking at the map and go, well, there's a big shiny red cap over there and I must get to it now. This is going to tie into my number one piece of advice for playing this game, which is win your flank and go back. We'll talk about that as we go, because that indeed is what's going to happen here. So I like to, when I talk about these things, show you and give you an illustration visually, because that's powerful. People learn that way, in an actual situation, so you can see what it means, at least one example of what it means. I'm in my CS52 LIS, the new premium tier 8 Polish medium tank. A lot like a T-44-100, pretty mobile, hits pretty hard for 320 alpha. Has decent accuracy, pretty good turret. We're just going to go ahead and cruise in here. So I'm going to take up this position. We have logged into Fjords, or spawned into Fjords. That's right, it's called Fjords, all right? And I spawned over on the west side. So I'm headed up to what I kind of consider the light and medium brawl area on this map. We've got some guys going down to the south. We have a few guys headed up the hill over in the north. So we'll just watch this go. Now clearly, let's start with a very easy, very simple example. It is not time to cap, right? I think we can all agree. It is not time to cap. Even if somebody ran to their cap, there's no way they're going to be doing it. It's very obvious to everyone sitting here watching this that there's way too many of them on the board, and I'm just not going to be able to do that. Now what I want you to do with that idea is just keep considering that idea and figure out when it is that might be an okay time to cap. The problem is most people don't think much past that. Really what they're doing is they're attempting to get to the enemy cap at all costs. If I can just break through a flank and keep pushing to the enemy cap, that's going to help me win. You know, because capping wins in World of Tanks. But what I'm telling you is you've got to set the conditions. So we've started with the most obvious example that I can come up with. Now's not the time. Is now the time for them to cap us? They killed one of our guns, took one of our guns out. No, clearly not. They can't even get past us right now, right? So we're going to keep on working. That decision-making matrix keeps on moving as the match progresses. So as you analyze the situation and take the proper action and go from there, you're going to continually do that as the match progresses. And it's easy early on. I think we can all agree right now. We're just in the brawl zone. We're still in the early phases of the game. Nobody's really started collapsing right now, not quite yet. They have a slight advantage on us, but we can see perhaps there's an issue up in the north, right? Right off the bat, there's only a cannon up there in the Progetto. We do have a T-62 and the rest of the mediums here at the medium brawling area. Oh, by the way, one of the reasons this spot works so well in this game is there's no arty. It's very dangerous for people to sit where we're sitting. The skirt is getting hit from above. And that's kind of indicating why we're having issues. I think that guy was actually shooting at the Skoda and he hit me. Thank goodness he only tracked me. So the Cannon and the Progetto are up there, and that's maybe the first pressure point and problem we're going to have vis-a-vis them coming after our cap. right? So as you're watching the game progress, as you're playing, you look down and right, look at your mini map, and assess kind of what's going on. These are pretty easy assessments right now. I'm gonna try to get under, and then I go right into the old side. Need to sneak up under his track right there. That got me lit. So I need to also watch my left side, because I know I have a problem up there, right? Those guys pretty much have free reign. The Canonen and the Progetto are keeping them stuffed, but it's just 2 tanks and they're a little beat up. So it's very nice that the 60 TP and this IS-7 decided not to go help their guys in the corner, because this is going to end up helping us overall. Our guys start to whittle down the tanks that went up there, the FV. They got the big cannon up there, but these 2 heavies kind of futzing around in this area. It looks like the IS-7 finally realized it. I might have missed a shot there as well. I think this one actually gets up under there. There we go. So I sneak one up under his track. Gets me lit again, as it did before. Let's see if I can get a shot on this guy. There we go. So we get him. Now take a look at it. All right. The Progetto's dead. They still have a big crowd up there. We have a big crowd down in the south. We've built an advantage. Things are looking pretty good. But in the back of my mind, I'm paying attention to this. If the enemy team decides to try to go to cap, then that's where my problem is going to be. That Canonen, once they figure it out, is probably going to get run over. So I'm going to come in this way, see if I can't add some damage to these guys. There's a Suma and a Barask hanging out in the back up there. The Sturv and I are coming in here to try to figure this out. Sturv might get a shot. I'm going to come up here a little too high, take a little shot, I miss. Oh, dude, I can't quite get away. Am I going to get hit? Maybe. Okay, so I get missed. Now let's see what's going on in the north. We're watching this while we're playing. The north is starting to fall. You actually see my my turret twitch that way as I kind of moved my camera to see if I could see what was going on over there. Now I'm looking behind me. See that? There goes the Barask. All right, great. Look at all the red dots going towards my cap. All right, break, stop. Hold the phone. So this is really what we're here to start talking about. What should the red team do? This is over if the red team collapses south and attacks us from the north. And collapses, takes me and the Sturv out right there. There's zero reason right now to go to the cap. The conditions aren't set. We have too many guns left in the game. It's basically even at 5 to 6. So if you're going to pile on cap, you're just letting us know where you're going. Meanwhile, we gobble up the few guys you have left and flex back to the cap. The conditions simply are not set right now. You need to remove more guns off of and more hit points off the table. However, you may be saying right now, but Guido, if you do it right, you can, well, okay, possibly, but you also have to do it right. You also have to do it right. The conditions aren't set. Let's actually be honest. Let's say the conditions are almost set. All right, it's possible. Let's put the possibility out there. The conditions are possible based on there's nobody really in the north on the green team. And here's the Suma up here. There's nobody really in the north on the green team. The Suma came down to try to do something. I thought the Charfutur might come in. He's thinking about it. The Barask. And they get stopped by the camper that's sitting on the cap. I don't know if that's a bot or what's going on with that guy. I think of a bit of a mistake right here poking up. So the conditions are almost set. And here comes the Char. We gobble up the guys in the south, and really had all of those tanks come directly at us, we'd be in big trouble right now. They'd have the high ground up here, but they're going for the cap. Look, 1, 2, 4 of their tanks went for cap, and I think the Char actually decides to do that here in just a moment. Actually, he's still here. We're going to have to deal with him for a second. Now they go in. They're taking on the 7501. And this is one of the reasons why these early pushes like this, and I would consider this an early push to cap. Another one of the reasons why they rarely work. These guys are going at them. Can we see their hit points? Oh, they're actually in pretty good shape hit point-wise, but they're headed to the cap, and there's a guy there. There's always a guy there. With this many guns left, there's almost always somebody. Somebody is camping cap. Or is very close by. Some TD, some bad player, and a heavy. I mean, he's been at the cap the whole time. So if you're going to try to get to the cap, you've got to deal with him, and that slows you down. Meanwhile, look at what we're doing. We're all still in a glob working together. The enemy team is split up into at least 3 different pieces. There's one over there on the east side. There's a couple guys here in the middle, and there's the guys pushing after the 7501K. Now, I know that's probably going to go poorly for that guy. And I thought about leaving, and I said, well, you know what? And look at that, the Char went there. So what I need to do here is get rid of the Suma, which he's gone around the corner. That's a good thing. And they're all going to jump on cap. Look at them. They've all gone to cap. And here comes our guys coming back. I already see our glob moving back, the Conquerors. There are 2 of them. There's a Super and a Conqueror. There's a 60 TP. We've had a couple guys push to their cap. Now, those are the guys doing it wrong on our team, unfortunately, the T32 and the AMX over there. When you try to cap too early and there's too many guns in the game, you're going to get pinched like this. Now, if you're going to do this, then you have to do it right. Remember, I talked a little bit earlier that it's almost set, right? It's almost a possibility. This is putting pressure on us. However, you only need 3 guys on cap. Anyone past 3 needs to be sitting on this corner right here, where I'm coming in, and the other one pushed down about here to keep them busy and force them to fight that guy instead of push onto cap. What this team does is they all get on cap together, which means we just have our choice to start shooting guys. There goes 1. They lose some cap points from him. I'll take some cap points from this guy. He's gone. There's still 3. They're really fighting for it. The Char is there. There we go. We'll take his cap points, and it's just shooting fish in a barrel at this point. There were 4 tanks there. Get a little shot on this guy. Try to track him. That's all I get. The Char's coming around. I have all kinds of hit points. I'm not too worried about him. I just need to come off this hill. I'll probably eat 1, maybe 2 shots. Just auto-aim this guy. It looks like he might be reloading. Oh, little ram, little shot right there. And down he goes. And now, at my leisure, I'll come around here, using those guys in front of him, track him, see if I can't get some assist and whatnot out of this. We're at 2,505. Another shot onto him. Is that a 2? 353. That's a nice high roll right there. And we end up killing that guy off. 4 kills, 2,975, 446 assist. And a great example of why your cap doesn't work, guys. Looked good, didn't it? I bet a lot of you went, ooh, yeah, that's going to work out really nicely. I don't want you to take away from this that, you know what, if we just got on the cap and put a guy forward and a guy back, then we would have won. There was only 4 of them, actually, they're on there, so they didn't have enough guys to put 1 forward and 1 back. But one of them should have gone off and screened in the direction he thought the first guys were going to come from. Also notice that positioning on cap matters. This dude that was way over here, what is this thing? That's dead guy. The IS-22, holy cow, why would you be so wide on the cap so that when they came around this corner, the first thing they saw you was way over here? Everyone should have been piled up over here. And in fact, last guy on should be hiding behind the other tanks. Now, when you get pinched like they did, guys on both sides, you're kind of in trouble. It's hard to do, but at least you have some carcasses. So there's a couple things to do if you're going to attempt this. I recommend you don't. I recommend, once they won that flank, they collapse down from the north down to the south, gobble me up and whatever's hanging out here, and then they got all these guys trapped down in the city. They're in great shape. They really are. They still had some guys back at cap. Would have been a good fight from there. As it was, it's much bigger of a Rumpelstomp than it looked like, because the Reds made a really, really bad decision to try to cap. You got to stop making bad decisions to cap, and this is a great example of why right here. You are generally not, and I'm talking to the 50%ers out there. As a general rule, you are not setting the requirements for cap, and you're attempting to cap too early or in the wrong place. That's just the basics of it, man. That's the truth. It's not your team. It's not somebody else screwing up. It's not RNG. It's not matchmaker. It's not the fact that we need skill matchmaker. It's you are making bad decisions on when to cap, and you're losing probably 10 games out of 100 due to that. I would bet you money it's around 10 games out of 100. If you want to be conservative, let's call it 5 games out of 100. Which means that if you are a 50% player and you can avoid attempting bad caps in 5 out of 100 games and turn them into wins, you're now a 55% player. That's how it works. It's not that hard. It really isn't. I see this every session I sit down and play. Every single session, when I play more than maybe 4, 5, 6 games, I will see this happen at least once. And then the longer I go, the more multiples of that I see. Rumpelstomps clearly don't count. It's just you died in every way, shape, and form. That happens. But anything that's even close, you get to 7-7 on a match. That's when you start seeing this. Somewhere around half the tanks gone on each team, and the game's in the balance, somebody is going to screw up and try to cap before the cap conditions are set. I can almost guarantee you it's 99% of the time. It really is. They need to keep fighting, keep working to other flanks, keep trying to reduce hit points and tanks off the board before they attempt it. What you will find when you start doing that is you become much more of a fan of just taking out every tank, because that works every time. Caps are often dice rolls. There's other things that can complicate it. We didn't talk about here is artillery. There wasn't any in this game. That changes things as well. It's even harder to cap when there's artillery. When you're attempting a cap and there's artillery, people don't even really have to shoot you and hit you. They just have to light you enough to let the artillery get a little splash and give themselves some time. So have a think about it. I think this particular idea attached to the idea of when your flank go back to your cap as a mechanical automatic thing will help most, if not all, of the 50% players up to about 55. Past that, it's a little bit more nuanced. I'm not saying that's the only way you play the game. Yes, there are times when you can fast cap. Sometimes you're getting beat so fast you can sneak a win from a fast cap. But that's a situation you have to recognize that you're doing that as a desperation move, not because I just drive through a flank and go straight to cap and that's the way I play the game. All right, man. I hope that helped everybody. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate your support of the channel. We will see ya.